I've been in motorsports since 2009, and I've always worked in sports of some kind, and they've all been male-dominated sports. Racing is definitely male-dominated, but there are so many women in PR, in event management, in legal teams, finance teams, on race teams. They're working behind the scenes, and there's actually so many more than people even realize. And I'd have to just say they're actually the backbone. They're the organized ones. For example, we're the ones that say we need to have a meeting about that, right? So everything's about communication, and communication is the customer service from an internal perspective. And I feel like if you didn't have people like us, then things kind of just melt.
Yeah.
I'm Liza Markle, and I'm the competition manager for Nitrocross. I'm just a freelancer, so just do this part-time.
I'm Emily Young. I'm a competition and media manager. I work under Liza and our sporting director.
For me, I started working with rallycross in general in like 2013 when it first came to the States. And it's just kind of like small motorsport racing, whereas like we both work in IndyCar and sports cars, and we work for a lot of big series. But it's fun to do one that's small. It's like grassroots may not be the right term, but it still feels more like family. It's, you just have a paddock to set up and a track versus like a big, massive, situation like for IndyCar. So it's just a fun change of pace.
Yeah, I agree with most of it for sure. I came in 2021, the first real year that it was the Nitro Rallycross brand, and it's just a lot of fun. The drivers are great, the teams are great, the staff is great. Like personally, I like the people I work with. Like if I wasn't doing it with Liza, or like we have a great operations team too, like our safety guys are great. Like if I didn't like the people I worked with, I would have no motivation to stay or do it. I think that makes it like really at the end of the day, when you're sopping wet or you've been in a tornado, it makes a difference how many people you enjoy.
I would say that's probably like, for me, a life lesson to tell people that you don't have to work with people you don't like.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you should quit every job. Like, there are some lessons to be learned about putting up with the different kinds of people, but if you don't feel good every day, if you're not working around a group of people that has working as hard as you do, then you should find something else.
Yeah. I'd say for this series, we've had a lot of weather issues the past year and a half, so we just somehow, everyone pulls together and we pull the event off. Like you have to be flexible, and the only constant in racing is change. So
yeah, that's true.
Every time we've had a tornado this year, we've had 50-mile-an-hour winds, so we somehow still get the competition going.
Yeah,
and it happens.
I would say this is not one thing, but one thing that I'm proud of being 48 and working in motorsports as a freelancer is like between, especially Emily and I, we're very similar in what we do. We work in competition. We work in accreditation, like we do credentials for Miami F1. We both do PR and social media for drivers. She does travel for a race team. Like, there pretty much isn't anything that we don't do, and I'm personally really proud of that.
Yeah.
Because it makes it more fun. It's a variety. Like, we get to work with different kinds of people and different kinds of race markets, and I think that's what I'm proud of.
I agree. Networking is great. I got my start from babysitting. My neighbor was a crew chief and moved to a general manager role for a team, and was like, hey, will you work the weekend for the Indy 500, and that's how I got my start in it. And you just network, make connections. It can be really intimidating, the industry as a whole, especially if you're a woman, but don't be afraid to reach out to people and connect with people, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say start anywhere. Like, I started in marketing and now I work on the competition side, and we know so many people that maybe started in PR, but now they're a driver.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's like Emily said, do anything you can, meet anybody you can. The good thing about a small series like this is that you can get to know, you can actually like job shadow so many parts of our race series and then take one of those things and apply it to a big series, if that makes sense.
So I'm Margot Branks. I'm Victor's sister, and I'm the media manager of VMV Racing. I'm here to make content and make our Instagram like grow a little bit and support the series as well. I think like motorsports is just, you can't compare it with anything else just because it's like so special, and it's like the adrenaline comes in the final. Like in the end of the day, there's the big final, and then everything comes together. So you're working all so hard to that one last final, and then everything comes together. And to show the adrenaline that happens then on the Instagram or on like with making content, it's amazing. I know we're trying to make every time we go to a race kind of a roadmap. Like we want to make this reels for Instagram, we want to make these TikToks, we want to capture these photos, things like that. Of course, if it's kind of a schedule we make, but if it doesn't work at that moment, it's not a problem. It still needs to be kind of spontaneous, because if you're gonna force your drivers and the team to do what we want for content, that's not gonna make it. So we want to be open as well, but try to make it in a small schedule so we also capture the moments we want to capture. We're trying to attract women as well, of course. We know it's more like motorsport is more a male thing. So of course we also try to attract them because they are the most interested in what we are doing. But yeah, how we're like trying to get women into it, I don't know, just to be like ourselves and make it more funny, because it's not that only men likes motorsport. Motorsport is for everybody. Like I'm a woman in motorsport and I love it. I've grown up in motorsport and couldn't be more grateful to be here. So I think everyone just need to come over to watch a race, and you will love it. I'm sure you will love it.
I'm Katie Osborne. I'm one of the Nitrocross TV commentators. As a motorsport reporter, I'm at this point in my life 100% motorsport. Currently with Formula One, Nitrocross, Supercross, which is 2 wheels, and I have an automotive build show called Helping Hands Garage that's actually filmed out of Tampa, Florida. I'm born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana, which some people, I like to say it's the racing capital of the world. There are people who are in Charlotte, North Carolina, and other places that would disagree with me. But from Indy, that's what we say. My mom and dad were directors of the Indy 500 or the 500 Festival when I was a young kid. And so I was introduced to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway early on in the Indy 500. And then one of my first jobs while I was in college still was at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Client Services Department. Long story short, I went to school for sports broadcasting. It was sports communication broadcast with a telecom minor. And it was one of those things that once you kind of get involved in motorsport, every time I got out, I would get drawn back in. I would be feeling like I was missing out on something. I was on the baseball field or the football field, and I would always be checking what was going on in motorsport. And I think that inclination that I had there was pretty pivotal for me to realize that I really did miss what was going on in the motor world. As it relates to storytelling, it's so authentic to each and every person, right? Storytelling can be everyone's own version of it. And I think that's what I personally like about being a commentator, reporter, presenter, host within motorsport, because ultimately the stories are what are important. In automotive, in fact, the cars can't talk. So what do? I get to relay the stories of the owners, the stories of those who the car impacted, who made a difference for them. I think that's really compelling. And of course, in motorsport, the drivers, the teams, the stories are really, in my opinion, what take sport next level. There is a huge drive in motorsport for inclusivity, for diversity, for equity, which is a great place for all people, for anybody and everybody. And I think motorsport in particular has really gathered behind that. And it doesn't matter if it's Nitrocross, if it's F1, if it's NASCAR, everything in between. There is a big push to really have that inclusion. And I do see, I've been in motorsport, man, it was 2000. Somewhere in the mid-2000s that I was working in motorsport, and I started there. I've seen more women in motorsport than ever, and I think it's so incredible. I think it's wonderful from all different roles, from technical directors to commentators, to those behind the camera, to those who are working on cars. It's a really PR, hospitality, the list goes on. And I just think it's really amazing that it supports women the way it does. Some of the stories that I think are going to be really incredible coming to fruition in the years to come is, of course, from one angle you have tech and the development of tech within motorsport. You have Electra coming alive, and you also have women who are on the horizon here. I think F1 Academy and the way that they're supporting women, I think is an incredible opportunity. What Susie Wolf is putting together and what the team over there is putting together. I think that is one thing that we're really going to see more women on the grid in different places, and it will potentialize women to be able to be in a place that they feel confident to be able to get on the road and be able to get behind the wheel of cars. I think that's incredible. You see it in NASCAR with the diversity programs that they have going on, and facilitating to women behind the wheel, and again in other positions in motorsport. So the story of women in motorsport, I think, is a story that we're going to continue to grow and we're going to continue to amplify. And I think there's going to be stories for years to come with women in motorsport.
My name is Brayden, and I'm an athlete marketing manager here at Nitrocross. My role is to work with the athletes to build their brands and also do all of our talent integrations on site.
Hi, I'm Yvette. I am here with PR, and I help with the media, review requests, taking people around, and just demo stuff on site.
I think that just everybody here is so passionate about what they do, and they really care. It's just a really authentic environment to work in, and I just think all the cool people that make it worth working here.
Yeah, there's really so much energy and a lot of passion that you can really feel from person to person, and it's really cool to work with such an engaged group of people, and we're all here to work towards the same goal, which is building up motorsports, and it's awesome to be a part of the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always worked in a male-dominated industry, so I think that like female representation is really important in every area of life. But it's just kind of like to beat the oppression and to beat all of our odds. Same as our drivers. It's there's all these barriers that you have to jump over, and it's so fulfilling once you get to the other side. And I think it just helps you grow not only as a professional but a person. But yeah,
You have to follow up with it yourself first to be able to sell it. It's actually have to get really meaningful. You can't just, you can tell that there's passion behind it. You can tell that we all love to be a part of it, beyond just, day to day.
My name is Jessie Armstrong. I am the Vice President of Marketing for Thrill One Sports and Entertainment. So oversee a lot of our different marketing initiatives, our campaigns, our premium, our fan experience, all that good stuff. So we have 3 brands underneath Thrill One. So we have Nitro Circus, Nitrocross Racing, and then Street League Skateboarding. We also have a media production company called Super Jacket Productions. So within each of those brands are a little bit different, right? You have Nitro Circus, which would be more motorsport, action sport oriented. And then you have auto sport and motorsport kind of mixed in with Nitrocross, and then skateboarding with Street League. I think the best part is you get to be super creative. we're selling tickets, we're selling an experience. How else would fans that kind of fit this niche, or maybe that don't, what's the most exciting thing that they can think of that they want to come out and check this event out or this tour out? So between any type of feeling that you get, like that's what we're trying to sell. So I think the creativity that comes with that is super important. I mean, it's in sorts, right? You don't want to toot your own horn and say, sure, absolutely. But I think in a way, when you have someone that's kind of trailblazing a little bit in a role that typically wasn't owned by a woman, especially in this business, which it's entirely male dominated for the most part. So I think that's super unique and special, and definitely a role I don't take lightly. I think, you know, it's something that you can open the door to a bunch of other women. Like we have a really good example of this. We have a woman of throw one. So we have like an inner committee within our business to where I'm part of like that planning committee to where we can execute different meetings, events, networking, really just kind of empowering women, not only within our business, but then like using my role to help our business connect to other women in industry positions as well. So that's been really fun. I've been dabbling a lot more into that the last couple of years. So it's been cool to expand on that.
Wow.
Honestly, I think it's having such an open community around you, right? Because I think given, as long as you're driven, you're hardworking, you're willing to put in the time and effort to make whatever category you excel in even better. But surrounding yourself around a community that believes in what they're doing and that also believes in the power of community to make it better, truly different, very unique at Thrill One, having people who are very receptive, very open, no matter kind of what position you lead at the company. I think having a very inclusive environment is really important to that growth or to see where you want to go yourself.
My name is Sandra Hultgren. I am a former race car driver. I drove rallycross for Oldsberg MSC when I was younger. Afterwards I started my own team, so my younger brother is running and I am the team owner. Right now we're here just to support Back 40 as mechanics and just set up people. So my mom and dad was professional racers, and I ended up having fun with a friend in a car which I were not allowed to drive at that age. So I started racing after that because I figured it was way more fun than not doing any kind of motorsports. It's just the thrill of the adrenaline. The forward driven car, it is a mid-engine car, so the engine is behind the driver. It is 320 horsepower, sequential gearbox, 6 gears, and yeah, it's quite light, 1,200 kilos, so it's a good car, especially on ice. So the first thing in the morning that we do is to do a set down. That means that you do a setup of the car, you do alignments to write down. So this was the previous race, this is the numbers that we had, this is the height, this is the weight. So you write that down on a piece of paper. Then we go out and do a track walk. The engineer talks to the driver and explain to each other what they're looking for, which is the key corners, what can we lose and where can we gain speed or time. And that way they go back to the car and they tell the mechanics, so we would like more grip in front, we would need more grip in rear, and then we play with the car to get the balance that the driver looks for. And then it plays with tire pressures depending on the day. In the beginning of the day it's colder, so you have a different tire pressures towards what it is in the end of the day. So back home I'm also a spotter, so I'm the person talking to the driver who develops the driver during its race. So I tell him when to go joker, when to brake later, when to turn faster or earlier. So it's more to get the adrenaline from not being behind the wheel but as close as you can get. And also about the stress when the clock is ticking down, you know that you have X amount of minutes to get the car prepped and ready to race. So for example, last race we have the clutch brake in that car and we had 1 hour on us to demo, what do you call it, to take out the gearbox, change clutch and put the gearbox back in less than 50 minutes and then do alignments, and everything is hot. It is, you get rubber everywhere, oil, and it's just like the adrenaline and the team spirit and effort to make it happen, even though you shouldn't be able to, but you just do it anyways. So to be completely fair, I was in this situation 16 years ago, and then I met a girl who's actually standing there. She's called Ida Strömsås. She was a race mechanic in high school, and I thought she was so cool and so tough because she knew so much about the cars. And I just started to be willing to work more with the cars. And to see her, she has been in the World Rallycross team, World Rally team, she's done World Touring Car team, she has double podiums in World Championships, and you can just see the young girls kind of step up and they take more place in the teams and they want more, and I think it's just a matter of how much they will, because of course you can be the only one who only changed tires and checked tire pressures, but you kind of need to show yourself and show the interest in being better and becoming more educated with the car.
My name is Ida. I'm from Norway and I'm with this team for this race. This is my first time with them, but I have some experience before, like with the World Rally Championship and with the World Touring Car Championship and also with the World Rallycross team. So I started with motorsport when I was 9 years old, so I drove the go-karts. When I was 16, I moved from Norway to Sweden to go to a high school mechanic. So then I was there for 3 years. So I think it started like, of course, when I was 9 years old to drive the go-kart, but when I was around 12, 13, I saw a female mechanic working on Peter Solberg's car in the World Rally Championship. So I told my dad, like, I want to be like her. So that's where it started. Yeah, I hope so, because we need more women in motorsport. So I hope I can inspire some women to start as well. Because I think it's good to have the gender mixed up. I think that is a good way to work. There has been some negativity to it, but I think I'm good, like, to just brush it off my shoulders and just to keep going. So, and afterwards I'm thinking about it, but then it's too late anyway. So yeah. Just listen to your heart and do what you want to do. Don't listen to everybody else, because there is some people that will tell you that, yeah, you cannot do this or you will not make this. So just you need to really want it, and you need to work quite hard, but it's not impossible.
I'm Dominic Wild. I'm in charge of the media centre and credentialing at Nitrocross. I also do editorial work for the website and a few other roles in motorsport as well. I work for Racer.com, do some freelance stuff for McLaren Electric and Vermont Sports Car as well. So one of the championships I work in a lot is Extreme E, and there I've always looked at it as every team has to have a male driver and a female driver, but across the 4 years I've been now working in that paddock, there really is no such thing as a male driver and a female driver. There's drivers. They just happen to be different genders. And we've seen now that they're just as quick. In fact, the best driver in that championship, I would say last year, was Laia Sanz. So, you know, we've come a long way. Working with them, yeah, great. They're just drivers. And I think the sooner the outside world accepts that, the better. You know, it's great that you guys, you know, have initiatives like this, but it's kind of a shame that you have to. Yeah, one of the great things about motorsport is it's not, or generally speaking, it's not segregated like you see in tennis or soccer or what have you. So, you know, while maybe we haven't had this, you know, maybe women haven't had the opportunities they perhaps could have or should have had, when they have had the opportunities, we can see they're just as good as anyone else. You know, they're racing against seasoned professional men and they're beating them, they're on par with them, the lap times match, you know, so we perhaps maybe need a few more opportunities, and that's why it's great that you have series like Extreme E or in the boat racing world, E1, where, you know, it's kind of mandated and written in there, but so that helps. But when they are in there, they fight on an equal footing, and that's great to see, and it proves that there's no barrier between both sides, and there shouldn't need to be an argument or a discussion.